Yeah, what? What? The devil is a liar. Oh, yes, he is. Yes. Guess what? My God said, rise and shine and give me the glory, glory. Yes. Rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, soldiers of the Lord. Are you one of his soldiers? Are you on the battlefield? You should be, because he woke you up this morning. Listen, the enemy ain't got nothing against God. Nothing. So you know what? And what? So what? Now what? What's the next right thing to do? No, this is the question. What's the next right spiritual thing to do? Let the Holy Spirit use you and yield to the Spirit. So, welcome to Free to Hope, right? Free to Hope, from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Morning conversation with Edwina B. That's right, y'all. Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Ain't gonna come no better than this. What you see is total transparency and authenticity. If you want the truth, ask me. Ask me. No problem. But be careful what you ask for. But I also have learned if you don't think the person can deal with the truth, spare them. Okay? So, free to hope. One of the things I've learned about my process in recovery for the last 34 plus years is to go with the flow. And that serenity prayer have helped me in a lot of situations. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, I needed to do that this morning. I needed to repeat that this morning, and I needed to follow through. So it doesn't matter. I'm going to come on if it is God's will. A few minutes late, a day late, a week late, I'm coming. Why? Because he chose me and he called me to sit before you this morning. So, let me relax for a second. Put my arm on this shelf. Because today we're going to have a conversation. We are really going to have a conversation, okay? And so sometimes it's necessary, and then sometimes it just happens to deviate from the norm. And I'm yielding to the Spirit because obviously it's one of those times, which is okay with me. God has given me so much information that is spiritual in nature that I could just sit with you and have a cup of coffee, right? All right, so let's take another drink of coffee, right? So, the beautiful thing about being transparent and authentic, right? Like I can sit before you and comb my hair. I did learn the trick to these dentures, right? To help keep them from the kitchen, boy. I tell you, ooh, that's okay. That's okay. So I did learn the trick about these dentures, right? So if I put them in just a little earlier, the suction will take place. You know what I mean? So I know some of y'all like, Edwina, that's not necessary. But guess what? It is what it is, right? And so I don't have to put on any makeup, any mask, any lipstick, any nails and all that kind of stuff because number one, I woke up this morning. I thank God for waking me up this morning. And I did wash my face. I did wash my face, boo boo, right? At that time is when I put my dentures in so that they can stay up. Because y'all know I'll take them out in a minute, in a second. But I have learned, right? Sometimes, Edwina, come on. Then I'll be saying, what? Okay, so I have to yield to myself sometimes too, right? All right, let's take another sip of coffee. You know why? because the coffee I prepared, moving around, trying to get things in order, I spilled on my carpet. And guess what? I didn't have an immediate towel available. So it's just sitting there waiting for me to scrub it out. All right. No big deal. Go make you another cup of coffee. Okay. And just be you. All right. So I'm here. Now, Free to Hope is to give you the information, the spiritual tools, information about the process on how to recognize yours, mine brokenness and being broke. Yes. So let me put my hand back on my little shelf here, right? So when I think about in my attendance at AA meetings, and I hear people share different things, and all my life I've been hearing people share, okay, talk. And sometimes we all talk too much. Listen, my pastor, Christopher Allen Bullock, shared yesterday, and he talked about being overwhelmed, and it's just too much. And then he says too much, then no, he said it's so much, right? It's a whole lot, and then it's too much, right? But guess what? When you have established a personal relationship with the God of your understanding, I have my own personal relationship with him. Nothing overwhelms me if I practice the spiritual tools that are available to me. That's why going to a 12-step spiritual program for 34 plus years, Alcoholics Anonymous, fellowship, spiritual principles, right, has helped me to recognize my brokenness and being broke, right? And it was so evident how broken and broke I was 34 years ago underneath the parked car. All right. So y'all know the story. And these spiritual tools that have been destined, you hear me? Destined for me to find, to use, to practice, to implement, right? Only if I pick them up and use them and apply them, right? And so in my 12-step spiritual program, step 4 that we talked about briefly the other day, we made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. And so underneath that parked car, getting high with my stepson, doing all kind of sexual favors for him, and under the influence of co-occurring disorders, we transformed. And so the flashback of my life just went back. Like, how did you get underneath this parked car at the age of 34? And so, in doing my 4th step, I recognized how broken and broke I was, because I opened up my book that was already written for me, believe it or not. So I read the first part of my book, where the Louise family talks about the domestication process and being taught a lot of lies, and people really not knowing, quote unquote, the truth, and the perpetuation of dysfunction and all that, right? And as a result of being a product of environments that I personally did not choose, that was chosen for me, I adapted to my environment. I adapted to who was in charge, right? And then I also had a rebellious streak in me. So there's a time in our lives during my 4th step that I rebelled. I don't like that. No, I don't want that, right? But before, I had to, or get up, or get something else, right? And so the whole idea of taking a searching and fearless more inventory, I get to read the first few chapters of my book. And then I recognized that in reading it, I ended up underneath a parked car at the age of 34. I'm thinking something's wrong with me. Desperately, sincerely, right? Oh, something's very wrong with me. What is wrong with me? So I thought. But being in a 12-step spiritual program, not religious, I found out that things happened to me. And the 12 spiritual principles, the 5 agreements, right? The biblical scriptures that the 12 spiritual principles came from, the spiritual revival hour, gospel songs, right? And so as the student became ready after being so humiliating underneath a park car, y'all. Here's the proof right here, underneath the park car, okay? After being so humiliated to the point where it was either go all the way or don't go. But guess what? That wasn't my choice because I couldn't make it. And I cried out to this God that I didn't know to take me out this life and show me a better way, okay? And so as a result of reading my book and doing my 12 spiritual principles, I learned a lot about what happened to me, how those attitudes, those ideas, those behaviors, the actions, right? The attitude, how they were all formulated by different situations, circumstances, people, events, right? What happened in those situations by those people? What part that I play in it? Right? So it's like studying, it's like studying your own life up until now, right? And so I was intrigued by doing that because I wanted to know what made me the way I was made, and what was my destiny, what was my purpose. And I understand by reading my book, the book is not yet completed. Really? Because in my addiction, I need a drink right now, coffee. During my addiction, I had this idea that I was going to grow old and have my pot, have my wine, and on a rocking chair on the porch, sort of like The Color Purple, the guy who was so bad, but mine was in a retirement form, right? Now, could you imagine growing old and sitting on the porch in a rocking chair, smoking weed or drinking wine? That's what I visioned my end of the life was, right? Because I thought I enjoyed those things so much. But what I didn't realize in reading the first few chapters of my book, my life, there were consequences that I didn't like, right? And those ideas, attitudes, behaviors, actions, right, were perpetuated when I indulged in drinking and drugging and prostituting and all that, right? It perpetuated because those things were already established. The foundation was already set. And so who would have ever thought that the consequences of choices, right, of decisions, I tend to like, I don't want to think about that. Well, the consequences became overwhelming. It was just too much. It was just too much. It was just too much. The rapes, the beat ups, being passed around like a bucket, spit on, called all kinds of names. Had I not left Philadelphia when I did, I could have been giving service to a dog. Ooh, I poked myself in the eye. Yes, I robbed dead bodies. I stepped over dead bodies. Yes. I did a Narcan training the other day. I didn't call 911 when people overdosed. No. I robbed them, took their drugs, took their money, and left them for dead. Yes. Yes. The disease of alcoholism and mental illness is powerful under the influence. And so, when I'm looking at the consequences of leaving my children, abusing my children, neglecting my children, neglecting myself, my hygiene, STDs, right? I committed murder as a prostitute. I had an abortion. And guess what, y'all? It was already written as I continued to read my book. My God already knew what I was going to do. It took me so long, 10 years to be exact, to forgive myself. But my God had already forgiven me. I had to learn to forgive myself by having that one and only knee-bowing experience on February the 22nd of 1990. And so you see the euphoric of getting high and being on cloud nine and and having all these crashed, and the consequences of my choices and decisions. But with the disease of alcoholism, I lose the ability to choose anymore. We have gone that far where we lose the self-will. Ain't no such thing as self-will. We read in our book the other day, the moment you think you have to control something, you are already out of control. Isn't that something? The moment I think I need to control something or somebody, I am already out of control. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Because knowledge is power, right? And so with the consequences and reading the chapters of my book up until February the 22nd of 1990, right? I revisited, right? I evaluated, I analyzed, I dissected, I performed surgery with the use of spiritual principles to all the earthly matters that I'm dealing with here on this earth called life, right? And so by me hollering out to this God that I didn't know to take me out this life or show me a better way, it appeared to me at that time, wow, he kept me here. He didn't take me out, right? Wow, what a revelation. I yet live, right? But I need help. And at that point, and even still today, I want help. And so by using my spiritual tools and resources, I'm able to continue on this journey that's spiritual in nature to help continue to create, develop, enhance, elevate that psychic change that needs to be made. Dr. Carl Jung and our AA members, co-founders, said religion is not the answer. The Oxford group tried it. The temperance group doesn't work. The Washingtonians already tried it. Dr. Carl Jung said what we need, who suffer from the disease of alcoholism, coupled with mental illness, is a psychic change. You need divine providence, divine intervention. We need spiritual experiences that are sometimes very, 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 very humiliating. Yes. And that's not a bad thing in God's eyes. That's a good thing. See the difference? Because through that humiliation, I realize I can't do this anymore. Not one more second, not one more hour, not one more day. Take me out or show me a better way. Wow. I learned that my God created us out of love. Yes. A.J. Harding talks about it. My mentor, Dr. J. Macklin, talks about it. I'm talking about it. I had to find out for myself for myself through my process, through my journey, right? What it is all about. And I needed to go to the source, as my pastor, Christopher Allen Bullock, directed me to go back to the source. Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? Help me, strengthen me, guide me, order my steps. I want to be of service to you, not to the enemy. No, not to all this negativity, not to this sinful earthly journey. I want to be in the world, but not of the world. Right? And so it was destined for me to go through what I needed to go through to be sitting here before you today as transparent and authentic as I possibly can be. Yes, just to share with you how I, through my journey from the time he knew me in the womb up until now, that I am living my destiny. I am living in my purpose. I am doing his will. And I love it. Oh, I love it so, so much. I'm telling you. I can go on and on and on, but y'all know I have to get ready to go to my 7:30 AA meeting, right? Where every day I get spiritual information, spiritual reading, spiritual passages, right? To help me deal with today. Give us this day our daily bread, right? And had everything been set up the way I wanted it, but obviously I didn't get what I want, but I'm giving you what God wants me to give you. The topic for the reflection reading was good, orderly direction. What is the acronym for that? God. Good, orderly direction. For those who can't believe in God, don't want to believe in God, whatever, then guess what? What about good, orderly direction? Huh? That's a great alternative until you find, and you will, you live long enough, the God of your understanding. Good, orderly direction. That takes away or eliminates the excuse of believing in the God. What about just doing the next right thing? And for me, it's doing the next right spiritual thing. But if I don't know and have spiritual tools, what? So I want to invite you April the 27th on a Saturday from 2 to 4 at my church with my pastor, right? To I am freaking tired of being broken and broke. Free seminar. So I can share with you my journey, my process, and how these spiritual tools and resources help to develop the chapters after my beautiful demise. Yes, because it was necessary. God didn't think it was so ugly. He thought it was needed. And I needed to see that it was needed. So it was beautiful. You see how we can change our attitude, our ideas and behaviors? No, it was beautiful because it awakened something in me that's only reserved for God and God himself. For me to cry out, help me. I'm broken and I'm broke. Help me put the pieces back together. Help me to be reformed, reshaped, redeveloped, remolded so that I can be of use to you. We are born to serve. And God, darn it, I'm ready. I'm ready to serve. Okay. See what happens when I just yield to the Spirit? What happens, okay? So I'm going to close now by saying, I love you. You love me. We are one big family with a great big hug. And a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? See, you thought I was going to say, ooh. I love y'all. If it's God's will that we are reunited tomorrow, I'll see you then. But for today, apply spiritual principles and spiritual tools to all earthly matters so that you, like me, won't be overwhelmed by the nonsense, but instead rely on the God of your understanding, my understanding, to give us the strength, the guidance, the direction as we yield to his will and not ours. Be blessed.